You know what? Things aren't all that bad. And one shouldn't give in to despair. Because to be honest, it's not all gloom and doom. There's this tendency to want to catastrophize every situation. But shit has been going on in the world since beginningless time. It's the status quo. It's the norm. Really, existence is opportunity and potential. In fact, catastrophe is potential. Challenges are what make us grow and make us stronger. Failure isn't failure. Failure is success. Especially if you're willing to face up to that failure and learn from it. If you learn from your failures, you grow from that, and that itself becomes a form of success. I mean, it's easy to think that the spiritual path is just too difficult. I mean, there's different ways of teaching the spiritual path. In some presentations, it seems as if everything is spontaneous and naturally arising. And then in other presentations, it seems like it's absolutely impossible. The point is, you mustn't lose your fighting spirit. That's what keeps us alive and makes us thrive in the world. I mean, the other day, I was driving down the road and I saw some guy lying on the side of the street, and he'd obviously just given up all hope. He was just lying there under the sun with his shoes off in the street in complete despair. And you don't want to end up like that, because beings that give up hope do not survive. And the world will eat you up like a piece of raw meat if you lose your will to live. From the Buddhist perspective, then we believe in reincarnation. And that means this isn't the only life. And so if we check out of this one, we're going to check into another. They say that this body is like a guest house and the mind is the guest. It's you going on vacation and hiring out an Airbnb. And then when you return home, you're in a different house. And it's like that, life to life. And you can't escape, for example, by committing suicide, because you're only reborn in a worse situation. The thing you need to do is have some determination and strength. And also, don't be so damn judgmental of yourself. You know, you're not all that bad. In fact, if you believe what the Buddha taught, then we've done basically everything imaginable. We've been the most amazing type of people, and we've also been absolutely horrible. And so we've got endless stores of previous karma, and from time to time these will ripen. But what you have to understand is the ripening of karma is not a bad thing. It's actually quite good. Because if you have committed misdeeds in the past and they ripen in this lifetime, then that negativity has been dealt with. It's gone. As I said, challenges are opportunities. In my own history, then I have grown through my failures. I've had many, many failures, and I continue to have failures. But these things help me grow. They make me stronger. I learn from them. However, if we have very fixed ideas about the outcomes we require, if our bar of success is too high, then we will miss the lessons to be learnt in life. We will overlook the potential of our failure. Life is meant to be challenging. And if you develop some acceptance and gratitude, then what you'll find is you'll have a much easier ride. There's no point in just throwing your hands up in the air and bemoaning the world. Everything's so terrible. Look at what Trump's doing. That doesn't actually get us anywhere. It's good if you can have an altruistic vision for the world and do something about that. It's nice if you can help others. But many people aren't even able to help themselves. They aren't able to feed themselves or find suitable housing. And for those, it's quite difficult. So many just stand empty-handed, begging for sustenance. It is virtuous to give to these people. It is virtuous to help out others. But what is essential is that you develop some wisdom. Your compassion needs to be embraced with wisdom. But it's the same for yourself. You have to learn to be compassionate towards yourself. And you need to do so in a wise manner. So it is ignorant or foolish to judge yourself, to beat yourself up every time you make a mistake. At the same time, you have to make some sort of commitment not to make the same errors in the future, especially if those are things that have come from your negative emotions, like if you've taken something from another out of covetousness, or if you've been carried away by your greed and desire or anger. We have to recognize these things and we have to repair them. We have to make reparations. We have to grow. We have to learn that consequences of our negative actions are not desirable and choose another path. But also when you're being compassionate with yourself, you mustn't be foolish. I think this is something that goes on a lot these days, is that people kind of spoil and pamper themselves. We become very small-minded. And, for example, we're not able to tolerate any form of criticism. Criticism is very healthy. It helps you develop humility. And that's a good thing. So you shouldn't beat yourself up, because then you'll just get depressed and you won't be able to function. You'll be like the guy in the street who'd just given up, just lying there with no hope in the world. So you have to have some strength and determination, but you mustn't destroy yourself through self-blame. Because actually things aren't that bad. As I said, don't catastrophize every situation. As human beings, we've been making the same stupid mistakes for hundreds of thousands of years. That's normal. But if you just focus on these things, you will miss out on the beauty of life. I mean, we're quite privileged here. We've got good karma in Canada in general, especially here in British Columbia, because we have access to nature, we have clean water, etc., etc. But actually there's beauty everywhere if you're open to it. If you have a good spiritual view, then you will appreciate the experience of consciousness itself is a beautiful thing. It's what we call clarity and luminosity. And if you have the right kind of view, then you won't get angry at intolerable people like Donald Trump. You will develop compassion for them. Something else you have to understand is your anger doesn't hurt that person. In fact, enemies generally like it when their foe becomes enraged. Makes them feel like they're winning. Anger doesn't hurt the person you are unhappy with. Anger hurts your own mind. it only damages your own mental health. And it makes the world a much worse place. We're so busy with our lives, we go about our tasks, and we miss out on these beautiful opportunities for engaging with another human being. The old lady on the corner, somebody in a coffee shop. People are often rude to each other. It's not so much of a problem here in Canada. People are incredibly polite in general. But you do see people being impatient with the guy behind the till in the shopping market, or getting upset and triggered at the bank. It's not like it's the bank teller's fault. The mundane world is challenging. If we can spread this metta, this friendliness, then we make the world a much better place. And the way to do that naturally is to recognize the potential in life, to recognize the beauty of existence. We have been given such an amazing environment. The world is an amazing place. But through our greed, our aversion, our desire, we're destroying the most important thing we have. Because without the fundament, without the foundation of our existence, we have nothing. And this is a form of bad karma, right? Destroying our environment, destroying our communities, our families, fighting with each other, giving in to outrage, anxiety. It only makes the world worse. I mean, you might not believe this, but in general, I'm quite a friendly person. I often talk about quite serious issues, and so it gives a bit of gravity to my speech. But in general, I'm not an angry person. I remember once seeing a video of Swami T, and he described my videos as attack videos, but they're not really attack videos. It's just something that we have in our tradition in Tibetan Buddhism, which is to point out fault in order for development and correction. But I'm not all that tough. You can see this for yourself if you come join one of our free retreats. Then in general, they're quite relaxed. I mean, I want to encourage people to apply themselves. And also, I want to stop people from beating themselves up, just bashing themselves over the head all the time, which is what we generally do. For example, if we're sitting in meditation and we have a bad thought, then many people will go, "Oh, I'm so terrible, I shouldn't have thought that." Because we identify this conscious experience with something called self. That must be me, and I must be a horrible person. But really, you're not a horrible person, you're a beautiful person. It's just that that beauty is masked by a lot of garbage. And this garbage is mostly associated with our imputation, the shit that we make up, the stuff that we concoct, our fabrications. And essentially, meditation is about going beyond our conceptual fabrications, especially about removing our misconception. Those are the mistakes we make. As I've said many times before, then the Buddha summarized everything in one pithy statement, and that was, not as regards theory, but in respect of seeing. Now what that means is that we have a way that we conceive of the world, a linguistic and analytical way that we conceive of the world. It's a model that we use to help us understand things. And then there's a way that we directly engage or perceive the world. And we can't figure out that those two things are different, so we mix them up. And that's what's called delusion. And essentially, meditation is just being with things the way they are. Sounds easy, right? Like many teachers will say, all you need to do is just drop all your preconceptions. Well, you try to drop your preconceptions. It's not easy at all. They're deeply entrenched. They're habituated. They're embodied. They're glandular. And so our practice is mostly about this. It's about undoing our bad habits. And we have a lot of bad habits. But those bad habits are what we call temporary stains. They don't define who you are. You do not equal those bad habits. They are not you. They're tendencies. If you gain some insight in your meditation, what you'll realize is that the experience of consciousness is much like how a bird flies through the sky and leaves no trace, no footprints. We have what is called presence, and we conceive that as a stream of conscious moments that we interpret as a narrative. But what we have, this thing I call the beauty of existence, is merely the present moment. That sounds like quite a trite statement. Many teachers say all you need is presence, etc. But again, the problem isn't presence, because we are only present. We don't have anything else. The problem is we imagine a world that is a succession of past, present, and future moments, and we stitch them together. We conflate them into a narrative, and that narrative is centered around the protagonist, that is me. And the whole samsaric game starts, and we develop these very negative views of the world. We can get carried away by false narratives that seem quite fun, perhaps. And also we can get carried away by nihilism and despair. And neither of these things are essentially beneficial. There is the extreme of opulence, hedonism. Many people verge upon this. They spend most of their lives just trying to entertain themselves. This is a trap, it's a honey trap. But far more dangerous and hard to bear is this extreme of nihilism and despair. So don't give up. Things aren't all that bad. Actually, life is beautiful. And you have friends, you have community, you have lovers, parents, siblings. As I said before, we're all in this together, but it's not like we're all in a sinking boat and there is no way out. We're doomed to drown in the ocean of samsara. We are here to help each other. And our interaction doesn't have to bring pain and sorrow. Those who bring sorrow into the world are sad and unfortunate individuals. They are in that position because they have a lot of self-clinging. It's all about me, me, me. This is what greases the wheels of samsara. This is what perpetuates our suffering. The altruists, the bodhisattvas, are the ones who bring joy to the world. Like that old lady on the corner of the street that you never talked to. And when you did, you discovered how amazing her life was and what an exceptionally beautiful person she is. Bodhisattvas are everywhere if you open your eyes to it. They are there to help you. They are there to help you realize the meaning of life. And that is to be of benefit to others. And it's my wish that you shall be of benefit to others And that through your practice, you will grow from strength to strength. And that your bodhicitta, your loving kindness and compassion, should flourish and illuminate the darkness out of this world. So until next time, and see you later.